This goes by another name as well. It's called Genesis in Chinese Cuneiform. Sounds a lot, but so the society that this all came from was the Ming Dynasty, which was 2200 BC. Do a little calculations. That's 700 years before Moses wrote Genesis. So the fact that the Chinese cuneiform was talking about Genesis 700 years before Moses wrote it, you might get some historians saying, well, Moses just copied what the Chinese cuneiform said. You could look at it that way if you want to, or you could look at it about the fact that if you're writing history, like Moses didn't live through this, he wrote it as history. And once he comes on the scene, that's Exodus, right? So he's writing Genesis as a history tale. And if you're writing Genesis as a history tale, then, and it's true, then there should be other people in other countries that have the same sort of effect. You should see that. And that is exactly what you see. So there's a bunch of stuff in here. If you guys want to check it out.
Is the flood one of those things?
Flood's one of those things. Here's the thing that I took from it. There's a lot in here about Genesis. But the particular one that I took out of it was the Chinese cuneiform word for boat is a combination of 8-person rescue vessel. That's what the Chinese cuneiform people, 700 years before Genesis was written about the flood, they were describing a boat as an 8-person rescue vessel. That's pretty profound, if you ask me. They're confirming that the flood actually happened. 700 years before Moses wrote about it, that society knew about the flood. And that's not the only thing. This whole book, if Confucius couldn't figure it out. He was a pretty smart guy, but he couldn't figure out what that Chinese cuneiform was talking about. And as you go through this, it's not just that one thing, although to me that's the most prominent. But there's a bunch of other stuff in there. Matter of fact, he picks it up from the very beginning. Symbols for Adam, symbols for Eve, and the story of Genesis goes throughout the whole thing.
Right.
So this is an interesting book. There's one you can check out. If you want to get it online, it's almost $2 or $3. But it's also called Genesis in Chinese Cuneiform. If you wanted to go online and get it, it's a couple bucks online for the book. It's been